Hi, it's Rachel here. I'm going to do a kind of craft with me semi how-to tutorial, how to make my envelopes. So this type of envelope I showed in my Christmas journal, and I wanted to show you how I made it. So the way of making this journal, I'm pretty sure I saw it on YouTube, but I can't remember who, or it was Crafty Sabrina something, or it was Patricia Viramontes. Is that what her name is? Maybe it was her. She does a lot of envelopes and pockets. I really watched it a really long time ago, maybe a year ago or so, when I first started making journals, and I hadn't really attempted to make an envelope like this before. But anyway, I've done it in a different way. The only thing that's hurt was that tutorial that I watched method was just the way it's been folded, but they stitched it down and made it into a proper envelope. Like the other ones I made, like I'll just show you quickly. Kind of like, oh sorry, these ones here. So that was what I saw in the tutorial, and then I just decorated them in my own sort of style. But this one I decided I was going to stitch it up to put in my Christmas book fabric journal, but then I thought, no, I'm going to leave it open because I saw Tracy Fox, I think her name is, she had done an open envelope. One of them she had just had glued paper down and you could write directly onto it, and another one she hadn't put the paper in like this, I don't think, but she'd stitched it in here so it was like a little book that you opened. So that's kind of what inspired me to leave this open. And then I was just going to stitch down some scrapbooking paper here and scrapbooking paper there, and then when I was about to stitch this I thought, oh, why don't I make that into a pocket? So I made that into a little pocket. So this is very fragile because I didn't glue enough pages together, and then I thought I'll add pages here for writing. So that's what we're going to do. We'll decorate it and then we'll add the pages. I don't know if it will be a long video or a short video. I've never done this sort of thing before. But if it's becoming too long, I might do it in 2 parts. So what you'll need is a decent sized book. So the book I don't know if that's the book. Yes, I think it is the book. Okay, so the book I'm going to use, let's measure it and see how big it was. You can do them any size really, but that's a nice size. So this one is 7 1/4 inches by, I always want to read the centimeters, 10 inches. So centimeters, about 25 1/2 by 18 1/2. So that's going to make this size envelope, and I'll tell you how big that is, or envelope sort of journaling spot. 18 1/2, 7 1/4 by 3 1/4, or nearly 9, 8 1/2, nearly 9. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'll just try and see if I can show you how this really strong paper, but it's old, so it's brittle. So it's probably, when you have an old book, I only did 2 in those ones because I hadn't planned for them to be an envelope, or I didn't want to make it too thick. So you don't want to go too thick, but this time I've already glued together 3. And I've only put the glue in the center there like I showed in another video, and then because they will be stitched around, it's not a problem. If you go really crooked, just trim a little bit off so you straighten it all up. So I might try and sit down for this. Hopefully I'll stay in screen. Okay, and then let me show you what you need also. You'll need your paper scraps here, little basket of paper scraps. You'll need maybe a little bit of lacy sort of things, and then I have on hand, because I'm not going to do a Christmas one, I have on hand some scraps of antique fabrics as well. And I also have my antique jutes and whatever. Like, I have them in plastic containers, but I will, because they get out of control, I will divide them into bags of medium pieces, smaller pieces, and then larger pieces just folded. So we might use those. And then you'll need some, I've already chosen my scrapbooking paper for one, because otherwise it would take me too long to choose it. So I'm thinking about these three. So some scrapbooking bits, and then you might like something that's stamped like a word, or you know, like a bee or something. And then this is some calico or muslin that I stamped with some script. That might be useful. You might need some initials, something like that. And then we'll need our glue, scissors, maybe our paper cutter, ruler, that sort of thing, your regular crafting things. So what I'm going to do now, I've turned it upside down, the paper, because when I fold it up, I want my writing to be, I want my writing to be the right way up. So then what I'm going to do is just turn it around like this, and now this is the dicey bit, so I'm going to fold it, I think, there by eye, and then I'm going to do that one fairly, try and get it even, so it's kind of lining up with the writing there, and that's good for me. That suits me just fine. So we'll do that. And then what I might do is, it's not really necessary, but I think I'll put a little bit of glue. Might help if I roll my glue up. Put a little bit of glue here and here to hold that down a little bit. If you've got one of those bone folder things, you can use those and really get your creases down. But we are going to be stitching over it, so it will eventually stand, and we're going to be covering it with some paper. Okay, so that's that. And then what I want to do, see, I've made this one stiffer now. I want to fold it. Just leave a little space there to here, like this, like so. And then I want to fold very carefully this one, like that. And now I find that I like that proportion, but that's too long, so I'm going to trim that off, because we're going to stitch a bit of lace down there, like we did here, like I did there, so it's not a problem. So I don't like it too long, so I'm going to trim it off. So you can see it's just there. Okay, so that's going to be, you see it's very old, this, so it's kind of breaking the paper. I probably did too many layers. It would have been better to have two. Okay, so next, what did I do next? The next thing I did was I decorated here. Now, I want to decorate there first. I want to do all my decoration on the exterior first, because you're going to have some underside stitching down here, and then we'll cover that up with our paper, with our scrapbook paper. So the first thing I want to do is decorate here. So what do I want to put on there? I want some hemp. So let me see here what I can find. Bags of hemp, but it's getting low because I had so much. I decided to make some lovely hemp or linen-y sort of natural scrap packs, and so I've slowly been making packages up with the hemp, and I've been selling it, and so now I don't have very much left. I have lots of big pieces but not little pieces. So I'm never sure exactly what I'm going to do when I start, but I'll just, I'll just gotta get my fabric scissors, sorry. I'll just cut my piece. I'm very random, or never planning anything. So I'll put that there, and then I might, let's just put those there so it doesn't flip up. And then I will see if I have, oh, that's lovely. No, that's too big. I don't want to use that. That's pretty. No, don't like that. So that's how it is for me. Yes, no. I'll just grab this. I've got my little bits of fabric here. Maybe I might find something in there. You never know. That's like one of my favourites. I might use a bit of that. See, look, this is just something I had. I don't know, what did I make there? I don't even know. And I've cut it off and kept it because a nice piece of hemp there and gorgeous bits of fabric there. So why would you throw them out? And it's the wrong scissors. They're paper scissors. So I'm just going to cut this off here and just going to cut it there and just see if I like this. Might not like it. Might have to scrap the whole video because I don't like anything. So let me see, what did I do on my other one? Yeah, so that could work. Might be a bit thick. Maybe if it's like that. There. I think I like that. Okay. And then I think I like my bee, but my only problem with my bee is I don't like the white on the white. So I want to have a look here in my stamped bits to see if I have a bee stamped or a fleur-de-lis stamped on something else. Let's have a look. Or a little bunny. Might keep those aside, might like those. See, I don't like that. It's too white. Might not like any of it. Don't need those. Move those out of the way. Don't think I need those fabric images. Nope. Oh, here's a cute little bird. No. Might have to take out the hemp. Let's see. If I don't find anything, I'm going to take out... Oh, here's memories. What is that? No, it's boring. Oh, that's nice. I quite like that. I'll put that aside. And let me see. I didn't stamp any bees on the darker colour. Is that one? No. See, none of those are working to me. So the oh, here's a bird. No. So let me just try something different. I might go back to that. Let me just try, if I were to put, this is some hand-dyed linen that I made. It's not like, it's a non-toxic fabric dye that I use. It's not anything fancy, natural or anything like that, but I do like that as well. And then, or the bird would work, like that, or maybe the bee would even work. The bee is one of my favorite stamps. Might be talking too quietly, probably nobody can hear me. I like the bee, so I'm going to trim that one down. I think I like the bee. Okay. Sometimes all of my bits and pieces I just push onto the floor. And as my friends once said to me, who also she does ceramics, she said you can just sweep it up in the end afterwards. I like that. So that's the direction I'm going in. So let's just, oh, that's nice. Maybe that can go somewhere else. And here's another piece of that gorgeous fabric, so maybe that can go somewhere too. Oh, and I love little scrappy bits like that too. Okay, so let's just put this all back in the bag, otherwise I can't function. I get confused. I don't want that. Then everybody will be confused. Okay, close that, get that out of the way. Okay, so I then need to come over to my sewing machine and stitch those on. Now, I just have to change my thread because, of course, I didn't think to do that before because I have a brown on, and I don't think you could use a contrasting thread. Maybe I'll leave the ecru thread for the bottom in the bobbin, and then I'll just have the brown. So I probably won't talk too much because you won't be able to hear me. So I'll just remove those and I'll just place them there as they were, and maybe I'll just, no, I can't swing you around that way. Let me just see, I wanted you to see the sewing process. I'll just go like this, excuse fingers, there we are, a bit more. Okay, so you can see, and I'm going to stitch this, and I'll start this way. I like to start there. Okay, and when you turn the corner, make sure your needle's down into the paper, or if it was fabric. And just keep your fingers on there to keep it flat, because it tends to like to slip and slide. That's done. Okay, just trim it off. Trim it off there. And see, I've got just the off-white colour on the other side and the brown on the top. And then I'll grab this piece, and that piece goes about there, like so. Can you see? There. Okay, now that I've moved everything, I don't know where I am. Put it back under here and stitch around. Okay. 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 So that's on. It's a pretty quick process. Just trim off all your threads while you remember. Throw them on the floor. Obviously don't be throwing too many threads and things on the floor if you've got carpet, because that could be quite annoying. So now we're going to stitch on our bee. And I think I mentioned in another video, I tend not to use black. Black I find is too harsh, so I like brown, like a chocolate brown, or a dark grey. Okay, and that's done. So our next job is to decorate the front. So I'll just readjust my camera. I'm sorry for shaking you about. See, and that's also holding down the flaps as well, so they're nice and neat and tight now. And so I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'll need that again in a second. And I'm going to put the camera back where it was so you can see better. Okay, so my next job is to decorate. So with this one, I just glued some papers, and also I won't do that yet. I'll do that after. I need to change my thread. I want it white there. So I'll probably just get some of my go-to grid paper, this one, and I'm going to just tear a piece, and I'm just going to glue it here, I think. Yes, I like that, but I don't glue anything until I've decided. I quite like this piece, I think, with these colours. Yeah, that works well. And I'm going to tear that, so I want to use this piece here, so I need to tear up that way, so I don't get the white. So I'll just have to pull that bit off somehow. It's okay. So that will go, yes, I like that. Now I need something to contrast. So I need something, I think something blue. I'm wondering if like a piece of fabric would be nice. I quite like that. But I would have to, would I stitch that on? Or would I glue it? Maybe I'll glue it. And then I'll find a strip of something somewhere. Let's have a look if I've got some strips here that are of any interest. It needs to be stronger. Maybe not. Oh, I like the writing. I don't know if that'll work. That's nice. That's nice. Let's see. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Okay. So I kind of like that. I don't know. That might be annoying if someone wants to write there, but I kind of like that. I wish you could tell me what you think. or the other choice is a little bit of something like that. That's very pretty too. Or do we like, I like that too. Let's just get this and tear it a little bit. Excellent. I do like that. Maybe I'll put that. Okay, I think that's it. So where is my gluing bits that I glue on so I don't make a mess? Find a bit over here. I think I'll put them up here somewhere. We'll just use this. Okay. So the screen. So we'll glue this. Just put it about here. And then glue this. I wonder if I should use my PVA glue for that, because it's just a bit of a stronger type of fabric paper, so I feel like it needs a stronger sort of glue. Okay, glue that on there. Just pushing the glue out towards the edges to make sure, because I didn't put the glue on precisely, but I think I put enough on to stretch it out so it glues everything. And then this was my piece. I think I'll put that. I think I like it there. Where do I like it? There, maybe. Put it there. And get this. Okay. Pop that there. I still feel like it needs something else. Oh yes, I'm going to glue that there. I think I'll glue it. I like that. Okay, so I don't want that glue. I want the PVA glue would do it, but I think I want my other glue, and it is here. I'll use this. I think it's a little bit like, as I've mentioned before, it's a little bit like the, oh my god, it's always sweating out. It's a little bit like the E6000 glue. It's very strong. To take that off. I can't wait till this tube is finished, because it's just a disaster. So I just randomly put my glue there and put a little bit there. See how I go. Okay. Just need to glue under that bit there. Okay. Okay. So I quite like that. All right. And then the back, we can put some of this paper, I think, because we want to make it a little bit so you can write there. And I'm going to get my Ever Faithful fruit bag. I just love that paper. Or otherwise I would use my carta paglia, this one, and it's too big, so I'll just tear some off. Don't like that little bit there. I'm going to put that there, and then I'll just put something pretty, maybe. Okay. See, they're fairly quick to make. Might put that there like so. Let's just lay it out flat so we can make sure it's all glued. Okay, and then this one. See, I'm trying to be quick, not to take everybody's time up. Should slow it down. Okay, That one goes there. And then don't know that it needs anything else. Nope. Quite like that. See, this is the hem. I need to... Wouldn't it have been great if I'd prepared all these things before I started? Just open the hem. It was, I think this was a curtain or something. That's the piece that I like. I'll just cut that off because I don't need a big piece. I don't have to open the whole thing. Don't want that. No ironing involved. I think we'll just put there. That's it. Okay, so I think I'll just put my, maybe I'll do the PVA glue because that one's so annoying. Just go here and put it roughly in the area where the fabric's going to go, and then if I need to put more, I can put more afterwards. Don't want to put too much because then it will bleed through too much. And then I just need a bit there. Okay, great. So my next job is to find, I quite like that, it's going to be pretty. There, there, and then the back is like that. It's pretty good. Okay, so I need to now, just going to, now that was kind of annoying, that piece to do. So what I did was very rough. I put it on my fabric, on my paper. Now I'm getting confused. And I took a pencil. Just a second. I took a pencil here and can you see? Not very well. Let me move up there. That's very hard with the tripod there. Okay, so I'm just going to, actually I want to put that, I might just put that, if I line that up, oh, if I line it up a bit underneath, that's perfect. Then I drew it like so. Now we don't want it that big, so what you need to do is you don't need to cut along the bottom because I laid it on the bottom, but you need to cut in from your line. Can you see that? See where I'm cutting? Here, look. See that? Okay. Because you don't want it to be bigger than that, and you don't want it to be the same size. And you might find you have to trim it down when you lay it on top. So, there we go. Let's see how that worked. If it didn't work, I have to scrap the whole thing. It did work. See that? So you just cut it slightly in. I could even trim a bit more off, but I don't think I will. Okay, but I'm not going to stitch that on until I put my lace on. Now that's the hard bit because sometimes I just can't decide what I like. So the trick is to just rest some things there until you like it. I think I would like something a little bit, not white, but a little bit lighter. I might have to go over to my lace drawer. Wait, I've got a bag of stuff here too. Just a second. Where is it? Put everything in bags because otherwise it drives me mad. No, that's a nice piece. Like that. What about that piece? Yes, I think I like that. So I won't even cut it. Oh, yes, I will. I'm going to cut it there. I don't even throw these scraps out because I make pavement trim that I sell on my Etsy store for gift wrapping and stuff, and those are nice to use, but this is too precious to use for that. I think I would just slip it in somewhere else, like when I'm making one of my fabric covered journals or something. Okay, so I'm just going to change my thread. You can come back over to the sewing machine, unfortunately. Make a lot of noise. Put that in my scrap basket over there. You can look at that while I'm preparing my sewing machine. Now, where is my thread? Oh my goodness. Where is it? And to think I tied it up the other day. When I start doing this and doing videos and stuff, I get into an enormous mess. It's just incredible. Oh, there it is. And all day, my desk has been looking tidy until right now. And now it looks like a bomb hit. So, thread up the machine. Hopefully I can see because I'm quite challenged in that department to thread it. Just turn the camera around so you can see what I'm doing. Threading my machine. Okay. So, I'll just lower that so it's out of the way. Oh, yay, it went through straight away. That's a miracle. Okay. So now I'm going to just stitch that across there. And I would like to go that way because that's the side I feel more comfortable that I can see it better. And I'm just going to, I am going to go backwards and forwards. And I am going to stitch around the part where you can see the paper is to hold it in place. Okay. Trim off all of our threads. Now that one to me is too long, so I'm just going to trim that off as well. Okay. Right. So, let's just turn it back around there. It's looking pretty from the camera. Just move that there. Okay, so my next job is to stitch on my bits of cardstock. So what I might do is just in the center here, I'm going to put some glue just so it doesn't, hopefully it doesn't slip around too much. And I'm going to, only in the center, you don't want to put it around the edges because you don't want to get the glue into your needle on your sewing machine. So just pin it there. And I'm going to start stitching on the long edge to minimize the risk that it slips. I guess you could paper clip it in place as well if you wanted to. So I just need to turn this around again. Oh my goodness, it's hard coordinating using the machine and not using the machine. Okay, I'm going to backstitch. It helps if you move things out of the way so they don't block you when you're stitching. Okay. Okay. So that one's done. Now we need to measure our other parts. So now I've lost my papers. Oh, here they are. So I need, this one's going to go in the middle. I always like to break up pattern. I don't like to put two patterns necessarily together. So I'm just going to move all of my things I don't need anymore out of the way. And I need my paper cutter. So here I come with my paper cutter. It's a big whopper of a thing. Oh my goodness. Okay, got my paper cutter and I'm going to measure here. Hopefully I don't forget my measurements in between measuring and cutting, because that can happen. I don't need any. Let's just get rid of everything. That's a good bit of advice. Get rid of everything you don't need. Once you've used it, move it out of the way. Okay, bye-bye. Don't need you anymore. Don't need you anymore. Scraps and the scrap bit over there. Okay, good. Now I can function better. Okay. Away. Okay, so here is nearly 19. So I think I want to make that 18 centimeters. So slightly in from my edge, 18 centimeters by, that's my fold there. Let's do it this way because I can see that one. And again, I want to be slightly in. So that's 8.5. If I make it 8, maybe I should make it 7.5. So what did I say? 18 by 7.5. So hopefully I don't mess up my paper. Bring my big cutter up. I need 18 long. Just line it up and cut it. 18 long by 7.5. Maybe a little bit more than 7.5 because that was okay. Put my strip in the box. Okay, and then that one's done, and then that'll be ready to stitch. I'm just going to take off the scrap berries little strip there so I can measure better. Throw that in my paper rubbish. So I need to measure the other piece here, and it is 7, maybe if I do a little bit less than 7.5 like the other one, and it's the same height. Okay, so it's similar to the other one. So 18 and then a little bit more than 7.5. Okay, good. So now we can sew that. We're nearly done. I will need that again. I'll just put that on the floor. Okay, it's like playing musical chairs. Oh, this one, if you want to make it a pocket, you take your, I have a little circle punch, where here I am, there, and I just flip it upside down, and I even eyeball it. I don't really care whether it's in the center, it's more or less, and flip it out, and that's your pocket. So I made it facing that way on my little pouch, on my little envelope, so that way it didn't you know, anything doesn't fall out. So what we'll do is we'll stitch that first. So you'll have to, you can't glue anything. You could paper clip it down if you wanted to. I'm not going to. Oh, well, maybe I should. Just put it here under my machine, just checking that it's as straight as I can get it. And I'm going to back stitch. So this way you're holding everything together. And stitching down a functionable pocket as well. And what I'm going to do, you can see here, yes, see where the fold is? Between the pocket and the fold, I'm going to stitch along there as well, just so that on the other side you have the stitching all the way around. So there, in the middle, and very careful not to stitch here, and you don't want to stitch over the line either, in between. And that one is done, and I like that. So you've got your nice little pocket there. So let's cut that off. Am I recording? So, oh, it's only 39 minutes. Wow, look at that. Okay, and then I'm going to stitch this one on. Just try to line it up as best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, like so. And I think I will start on the long end so I have less chance of it slipping, I hope. I mean, you could make that one a pocket as well if you wanted to. That could be interesting. And go all the way around. Just trim that off there while I'm here. Okay. Okay. So that's all ready. Now all we have to do is prepare our papers. So I like that. He's quite stiff, the poor thing, but he'll get used to it. So we have to just prepare our papers and then we're done. So what size did I do my papers in the other one? What proportions? I can't remember. Where has it gone? Here. So I made my papers just very slightly smaller than the paper behind, just so you could get a glimpse of it. So let's gather up some papers. So what sorts of papers did I use? I used some scrap pieces. Let's see if I have any here. I did have, but I might have used them. Here's one. No, that one's had glue on it. Here we go. Just some scrap pieces of paper. And then I have a couple of papers in my paper box that I like to include. So maybe not that paper. I like this, some of that paper. Maybe some of this lined paper. Oh no, I like this eco paper. Let's use some of that. Get a piece of that. And then I want some old bits. So let's see what old pages I've got. Where did I put them away? Now we don't never want to be too tidy, do we? No, I don't want to use that. It's got an image on the other side. Where have they gone? Here. Right in front of me. So I have all these pieces, so I'm sure I've got something here. That's cardstock, I don't want that. I would like maybe some of those. Yes, they're yummy. They're old. Those, got lots of white. Even a couple of smaller ones. They don't all have to be big. And then I might get a bit of my carta paglia. Where is it? Okay. Oh, can't find it. Oh, that's nice. Okay, here. Okay. So let's measure and then we'll quickly cut those. Otherwise we're taking too long. Got a shadow. Just move you over here. Down like that until we stitch in again. Okay. So let's measure. I want it slightly smaller. That was 18 by just over 7.5. So if I do a little bit under 7.5 by 17.5. I can remember. Okay, so we'll start cutting our pages. My big chopper up again. Here he is. But I like him. He chops well. Okay, just move you up a little bit so you can see. Okay, so these have to be, if I'm going to include those, a little bit under 7.5, I said. So we'll just chop those. Okay. And then we'll do 2 of these. And that way, a little bit under 7.5. And then I said about 17.5. Okay. Move those over there. What about this? This is beautiful old paper, so let's just chop. So we need a bit under 7.5. Probably won't be long enough, this one. Oh yes it is. It's too long. Okay, so I've got 2 pieces here. Maybe we don't need this one. Keep that for something else. And we've got this, so I don't want to fold it. I need it to be like a little bit less than 7.5 by 17.5. And very quickly you'll find that you have a whole lot of pages. A bit less than 7.5. I'm not even being careful whether I'm perfectly straight or not. Doesn't matter. Okay, and this one, $17.5. Those are my measurements. You obviously have different measurements, so just remember to go always with the papers slightly less than what the size that you cut your scrapbooking papers or your cardstock for the back. And then we'll use, maybe I'll cut this in kind of in half and have 2 shorter ones. I'll cut off that bent bit, don't want that. Okay. Okay, and there's our papers. I think that'll be enough. So we're nearly done. We need to get a piece of linen. So just a piece of linen. So I'm just going to check, just a bit longer than that. So I just randomly cut it out like this. I'll trim it down afterwards. That'll be long enough. I want it to be a little bit shorter than my paper. And then I got some of, where is it? You could use cheesecloth. I have this very old antique tulle, so I might just cut a piece of that off. Oh, this piece is good, down the edge. And you want it quite long, so I'm just going to cut that. Can't seem to get it into camera. Here we are. I'm going to cut down that edge there. It's very old, this. Here. And then I'm just going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch it onto here. Now, that's too long. I don't want it to be longer than my papers. So I prefer this bit first and then I'll stitch it onto the papers. So let's get the sewing machine over again, the faithful sewing machine. Move the papers out of the way. Bring the sewing machine over a bit further so you can see. So what I do is I will, this might be too long, but what I do is I'll just gather it up a little bit like this. And I place it on here. I can trim that off after. It probably won't work now. Done it a million times. And then I'll just stitch down the center, just gathering it up as I go. So I'll just show you. So I'll gather it up and hold it with my fingers as I go and then stitch it in place. It's very simple. A little bit fiddly, but very simple. Just don't want it to slide off to the side. Like that. Just catch it in place. If it's too long, you can trim it off. But the more gathered it is, the nicer it is. Okay. Oh, how simple is that? We've got a lovely, look at that, a lovely gathered piece without too much effort. And then I normally like to put a little bit of something in the center. So I have my basket here of some that I like to keep on my table. So then I'll just put them on top, quite like that. So that's a possibility. Otherwise, this is a new sort of trim. I don't know, I think I got it out of it, but I always seem to like that one. I think I like that one more. And I'm going to cut it a bit smaller. I don't need it to be the same size. Now I won't stitch that down yet. You can if you're not comfortable with sewing. I'll stitch that down directly No, maybe I'll stitch it down now. It might be better. Stitch it down. Center, doesn't matter how many times you sew it. So you want to put it down the center. You don't want to flatten your ruffles. Okay, so that's done. Occasionally I use these on my books as well, or even on gift cards as well. If you're making gift cards, they're cute. Okay, so I'll put that there. Now let's order our papers. We don't want all the same things next to each other, so what do we want to see first when we open it? Maybe I like to see this one. So that one, then I'll put a white one in between. Put that one. Oh, what about the old? Let's put the old one first. And then this one. This one. That one in there. And then put that one in there too. And then that old one at the back. Okay, so just straighten them all up. So easier said than done. I might just stitch across those so that they move about. Just make sure they're all as straight as you can get them. Maybe do it just a little teeny tiny stitch like that, just to hold them. Just makes it a little bit more secure when you want to attach it to your envelope. So there we go. And then here I'll place that on my envelope. See, I'm crooked. Oh, I should trim those off. I do recommend stitching then in that case. And then hold them on your envelope in the position like so. Oh gosh, you can't see me. Like that. And then I'm going to hold this here, and I'm going to stitch it. And my sewing machine is not going to love me. Don't move. And as you can see, I do backstitch just to make sure it stays in place. And it is done. Our envelope is done. Oh, that was stressful. There we go. So let's have a look at it. Let's see what we've done. So it closes like so. So that's the outside. That's the back. I mean, you could study little button system, or you could stitch a little bit of trim there and wrap it around. I just love all the different textures with using textiles and different papers. And then that's inside. Isn't that gorgeous? That is really gorgeous. I love that. I went a bit crooked, doesn't matter. And then you've got a pocket there. You could also make that a pocket, but you wouldn't be able to fit much in there because it's a triangle. So that is the envelope. I hope that was helpful, and I hope I wasn't too haphazard. And if anyone has any questions, please ask me. Thank you for watching. Bye.